Hey guys, I'm Clarke and today I'm having a look at the brand new Boss Plugout Effects PX1. Now I think it's fair to say this pedal, since its release only about 36 hours ago, I think at the time of recording, has received a fair amount of criticism online. So I thought I better get myself one and see what I think myself. Straight off the bat, I really appreciate a good play on words name. Plug in, plug out, get it? It's out of the box, it's on your pedal board, yeah. So if you're not familiar with this idea, what it is essentially every Boss pedal in one, or kind of. So straight out of the box, you get 8 of Boss's famous effects pedals. By downloading their app, you can add another 8 to make a full 16 without paying anything extra. And then from January next year, you're gonna be able to start buying other pedals for I think around £10 each. You can then download those into one of the 16 slots on the pedal, and you then have that pedal as well. So I'm gonna have it as it comes out of the box. We're gonna start with some sounds and then I'll get into my thoughts afterwards. But first, clean sound. Okay, OD1, let's go. Okay, so sounds pretty great. That kind of sounds like an OD1 to me. So let's start messing with the controls. We have 3 controls, as most Boss pedals do, but they're obviously multifunction depending on the pedal you're using. So if I click on one of the buttons, you'll see this one has a level control and an overdrive control. So if I start turning that, you can see the overdrive start coming down. And the other way. We can then click in all the buttons. So I've got the menu there, which takes me back to the options of which pedal I'm going to choose, or we can use the left and right to scroll through the pages. So on this pedal, we don't have a lot else to control. It's just controlling what the expression and switches do. So for this one, I'm just going to go back to the menu and let's try the next one. So let's scroll down to the Spectrum pedal, a pedal that I don't think anybody actually knows what it does. Maybe like a cocked wah thing, and the Spectrum control is changing where the frequency boost is. What does the balance do? Yeah, it's definitely some kind of filter thing, but as I said, I don't think anybody has any idea what a Spectrum thing does, not even Boss. Before I get on with the next part of the video, if you're interested in winning one of the pedals on screen now for free, you're gonna wanna hear this. So from now until the end of September 2025, I'm running my next Lucky Dip pedal giveaway. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is subscribe to the channel and comment below which one of those 5 pedals you'd most like to win. I know it's not September yet, but we're nearly there. At the end of September, I'm going to draw one person at random, and that person will win the pedal they commented. So yeah, subscribe and comment below which pedal you'd like to win. Right, Phaser PH1. I'm a bit more confident on what this one does. I love that sound. Now this is one of the weirder pedals that Boss has in its history. The SG1 slow gear essentially kills your attack and allows you to do like a violin style swelling. But we've got to get the sensitivity right. That's a lot of compression. I have no idea what you'd be doing to want that much compression. Let's dial this down a little bit. Really, really compressed. Okay, so what do I like about this pedal? Well, it's very compact. It still has the same footprint as a normal Boss pedal. It obviously allows you to access pedals that you may not have or may not even be available anymore. So you can access things like, I think the T-Wah isn't made anymore, but there's a few others in there that you simply don't get unless you find a second-hand one, which might be quite extortionate price. I think functionally it's very good in the sense that it is stereo in and stereo out. You can use external foot switches and expression pedals to get more function out of what is already in the pedal. I definitely think the sounds are great. I would not have any doubts if I heard that sound that it's fake or digital or anything like that. It sounds like a real Boss pedal. I think I'll do a video maybe next week where I compare a real Boss pedal to the model that's in this to try and actually see how realistic it is. But just by listening to it, nothing's screaming fake or digital, like I say. There's no need for a fancy power supply. It is a normal sensor negative 9-volt power supply, which is the problem I've had with certain modelers in the past, is that you need a specific power supply for that. None of that here, normal pedal power supply. Final really positive thing about this pedal, which I really like, is there is no save button. You don't have to make your modifications, save it, click OK and all that. When you've made your changes, if you change to another pedal, whatever you left that pedal on last stays. So if I set up my DS1, then change to my phaser, the DS1 stays as I set it. No need to save anything, it just stays, which I like because I don't like this whole menu thing with digital stuff. I have no issue with digital modeling, but I don't like the menus. If you set an analog pedal as you want it and then look at your other pedal, you don't need to press any save buttons. So it kind of feels more like dealing with a normal pedal. Okay, so what are the issues? Now, I alluded to at the beginning of the video the fact that it has received some criticism online, so I want to discuss that a little bit because I think there is some truth in the criticism. The big issue that people are drawing is this idea of you need to pay to download more pedals. So just to reiterate, the pedal is £229. It comes with 8 effects inbuilt. You get the app, you get free 8 more to put in. 16 pedals total, and then from January you can pay, I think, about £10 to download each individual pedal you want. Now, the reason I think this is kind of a little bit of a issue for some people is for £10 less, for £219, you can buy the Line 6 HX1. Every effect included. Everything that they update it with, you just update your pedal and you get all the new stuff. So to have Boss come out with something that is not only £10 more expensive, you can only get Boss effects in it, and you don't get everything. You have to pay more to get everything you want. If this was sort of a mid-priced one, so it had more functionality than something like the TC Plethora X1, so it was more expensive but did more, but then it wasn't as expensive as the HX1, you could kind of justify it not doing as much, but the simple fact is it's more expensive than the HX1, so I find it difficult to forgive it having lower functionality. The HX1 even comes with the, I can't remember what they call it, the second switch that allows you to modify characteristics of whatever pedal you're using, which obviously this doesn't have. The only thing that you could say about this over the HX1 is it is slightly smaller, but I mean slightly. The other thing that I find a bit strange is, considering they've tried to make this a pedal that will turn into whichever one of your favourite Boss pedals you want, you'd think the knobs would work the same way, but actually you have to turn them. I'm not sure if you saw me doing it. You have to turn them a lot to get a small amount of rotation. So for example, on the DS1 here, if I go over to the control, you can see my distortion pedal is here. If I turn it 180 degrees, surely the distortion should be at the bottom now, but it's not. It's not even back at noon. So you end up, try and not block the camera while I do this, having to do this to get it down to that point. I can see why they might want that. It gives you more fine tuning, but I feel like if you're trying to make it a Boss pedal, I'd want the knobs to operate the same way. One turn would be one turn. So I just felt that that's a bit odd to me. It makes it feel more like menus and scrolling through stuff, which is what I really don't like about digital. I'd have loved this to be, you load up a DS1 and then it behaves like a DS1 with maybe some extra things like the extra switches and stuff. I get that. But when you're turning controls, it's not behaving like a DS1. So what are my thoughts overall? I basically think if you're a massive Boss fan and you want to be able to get whatever Boss pedal you want on your pedal board, maybe you need the T-Wah for one song. You don't want to buy a T-Wah just for that. This allows you to do that. It's kind of the way I use my HX1 for those couple of songs where I need a chorus or a phaser or a pitch shifter or an octaver, whatever it is. You have one pedal that you switch to do whatever you need it to. So if you're a massive Boss fan and you want to get actual Boss products for that, this might be for you. I think for most of us though, it's not got quite the versatility the price would suggest. I think if it was lower priced, I'd understand it more. It does sound great. I'm not going to knock that at all. But Boss usually are quite affordable. If you look at like the price of a DS1, they're so cheap. So then to have a £229 pedal plus extra costs for whatever you want to download, I just think it's a bit much personally. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. As I said, I think next week I'm going to do a video where I compare maybe my SD1 to the model on here, so look out for that. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed with the bell icon ticks to be notified of new videos. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you next time.